Alright there guys, welcome back to the channel. So this video might be a bit of a lengthy one. I'm just going to cover off a few news stories I guess today. I could do individual videos, but I feel like it's just best just to put it all in one. So if you want to listen to it all, listen to it all. Firstly, Klopp's just had his pre-match press conference for the Brentford game tomorrow, and he basically has confirmed that Mo Salah is back in full training and is in contention to return to get tomorrow, which I think he probably will do, in all fairness. I think he'll probably be in the starting lineup tomorrow, especially with Szoboszlai and that lot out. You need to field a strong team tomorrow. I know we've got Luton as well. I think that's midweek, innit? I know we've got 2 games this match round. So yeah. He also confirmed that Trent and Szoboszlai are both out injured, and also Thiago's obviously still out injured. I'm of the personal belief that Thiago's played his last game for Liverpool. He did, however, want as well to basically say that it wasn't true that Trent came back too soon to play for Liverpool, and that's why he got injured again. He basically said that it was 2 separate things, and the whole time he has been at Liverpool, he has never asked or pushed a player to come back too soon. So yeah, he did clear that up, and that's pretty much it for the game, guys. Konate's back from suspension. Gomez is also back from illness, and as is Alisson. So pretty much a full strength team, other than having Trent and Szoboszlai. So for me, if I had to give you some sort of prediction of how I think we're going to line up tomorrow, it will probably be Ali, Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Gomez. I think he comes straight back in just because of how good he was before Robbo came back. Endo, McAllister, Jones, Salah, Darwin, Jota. I guess it probably makes itself up there, doesn't it? Probably that's how I'd line up tomorrow. Strongest team. And yeah, that's probably it for the match preview, guys, you're going to get from me. So I thought also that we'd cover off a few of these. Now, these do kind of link into each other, so I'll probably do this one first, actually. So Pedro Neto has been linked with Arsenal and Tottenham, and it says here that Wolves are hoping to bring in more than 100 million from player sales this season, and they want at least 60 million from Pedro Neto. Now, the article goes on to say that Arsenal, want Pedro Neto from Wolves. It would take a club record fee to get the informed forward. Neto's produced 2 sensational performances against Man United and Chelsea this month, and is attracting interest from big Premier League clubs, including Arsenal, Tottenham and Liverpool. Now, Liverpool are I think it's more Jurgen Klopp likes Pedro Neto. So it goes without saying that with Jurgen leaving, is the interest still going to be there? I'm not too sure. It might be someone that we look at if Mo Salah was to be moved on, but it might be just something to keep an eye on, guys, going into the summer. Pedro Neto, especially if he continues to have a good season and he stays injury-free. I think he's still only quite young. Yeah, he's still only 23, so even though he's had some serious injuries, he's still young and he's still got a lot of his career ahead of him. So it'd be worth keeping an eye and see if Liverpool do make a move for him, I guess. Now, I wanted to cover off these articles that have been popping up overnight about Xabi Alonso and how Liverpool could miss out on him. Now, this is from The Athletic 8 hours ago, Andy Jones. And I'll read it to you, and I won't bother with the one from The Telegraph because it's basically the same thing. But basically, this goes on to say that in the space of 5 days and 2 defeats, Thomas Tuchel's reign at Bayern Munich has taken a nosedive, which could make life tougher for Liverpool. At Bayern, success is demanded. Even coming close is often not deemed enough. Julian Nagelsmann, another manager Liverpool could be looking at, was the latest to experience this. His team was second in the league and advanced to the Champions League quarter-finals when he was sacked on the 24th of March last year. Tuchel was confirmed as his successor the day later. Tuchel is now having similar struggles. Bayern are second in the league to Bayer Leverkusen, who they lost to at the weekend and are out of the domestic cup. They also lost their first leg tie against Lazio in the Champions League last 16. Tuchel is coming under increasing pressure, and if he does leave, Leverkusen's Xabi Alonso will surely be the top of their list, as he would be for any top club, as he is the exciting up-and-coming manager who has made everybody sit up and take notice. He remains the most obvious choice to replace Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool too. His Leverkusen achievements have been impressive. Adding the connection from his playing days and his adoration the supporters already have for him, the fit couldn't be any more perfect. Now, I think with stuff that's been coming out lately, like I think there was another article on The Athletic the other day, which I won't touch on because it was basically a transcript of a conversation between a few journalists over there, and they were talking about who could be the next manager for Liverpool. And they all were talking about Xabi Alonso. Jamie Carragher's mentioned him. And it just feels like everyone's mentioning Xabi Alonso because it seems to be the most likely outcome. And no one wants to be seen to be wrong. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's probably a lot more going on behind the scenes at Liverpool, and potentially Xabi Alonso is in line to become the next manager. But even if he is, I don't think that we'll see any sort of announcement of that until the end of the season. He might have it signed and everything behind the scenes, but I'm not saying it is right now. But if it came to that, I think it might be all signed and then just not announced for a while. But then you do run the risk of it leaking and not being in control of the narrative. So I might be contradicting myself there. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that if it's announced that Liverpool can sit on it for a few months, or do you reckon as soon as it's announced, or not announced, sorry, as soon as the paperwork is signed and the deal's in place, that they'll announce it? I'm unsure on it. I can't decide. Liverpool insist they are not keen on making a knee-jerk decision. Replacing Klopp can be viewed as a near impossible job, so going through a thorough recruitment process is the sensible option. Parts of that include appointing a sporting director, with interim George Schmadtke having left the club. Whoever that appointment is, they are expected to also play a key part in the hiring process of the manager. That is the path that Liverpool have chosen. They could appoint a manager and seek their opinion on who they would want to work with as a sporting director, but that would seem a little muddled. One downside to picking a sporting director first is that the managerial appointment takes longer. Now, this is one thing I do agree with, is that I think we will hear of an appointment of a sporting director first, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's within the next month, maybe sooner. We've had we've had Tim at West Ham, whose last name I can't pronounce. He's come out and spoke directly of Liverpool's interest. There's the guy at Bournemouth that's also been mentioned, and there was Max Erbel, but I think he's definitely gone to Bayern Munich now. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Maybe Paul Mitchell as well from Monaco, I think he's still there. I know that Dan Ashworth was mentioned by a few people, but he's pretty much nailed on going to Man United now. So, yeah. Where was I? Here. Until Klopp's announcement, the search had been dormant, with no approaches being made. It has now been active for 3 weeks, with speculation ramping up surrounding Alonso. And again, I've said it at the time, I think that's why Liverpool made the announcement. I think that they'd been sat on that video for a bit, and it was about to leak, or because they was about to start approaching managers, and they wanted to be in control of the narrative, and that's why they made the announcement when they did. The sporting director search has been ongoing since Julian Ward announced his plans to step down in November 2022. Schmadtke was always viewed as a short-term appointment, so a long-term successor was always going to be required. Schmadtke's been on a rolling contract for about 9 months now. The sensible option may be Alonso, but the clock is ticking and the other sharks are beginning to circle. The clear run at the Spaniard, which may have been looked on the cards last month, is becoming more complicated. Big clubs really waste time when making big decisions. If Bayern are considering relieving Tuchel of his duties, you can imagine they are already on the phone with agents and doing their due diligence on their next appointment. It's also not out of the realm of possibility that if Real Madrid's season goes south, Alonso's sweepstakes are still rumbling on, then they may decide to join that race too. However, this is the most unlikely destination for Alonso due to Carlo Ancelotti recently signing a new contract and Madrid being top of the table. Alonso will no doubt want to avoid distractions as he attempts to end Bayern's Bundesliga dominance. He may postpone any decision until June. I kind of agree. And the race may not begin until he says so. false. It's already ongoing. But whether confirmation of his future comes before or after the end of the season, it will remain the elephant in the room. As well, guys, just going back to the announcement thing for Alonso. Can you imagine if it gets announced? Alonso, next Liverpool manager. And then every single press conference, Klopp will be getting asked, so have you spoken to Alonso yet? What do the players think of Alonso becoming the new manager? Have you noticed any sort of disgruntlement between the players not wanting Alonso to come in and blah, 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 blah? Do you know what I mean? It's something not worth doing. Liverpool can't control what Alonso wants with his life and next move, but they must ensure that they are at least asked the question and are not beaten to a superb coach because they didn't enter talk, assuming that is that they rate him as highly as everyone else. There's a bit more there, but there's not. I'm not going to touch that. Now, tying into this, the Mail Online has said that Brighton are ready for Roberto De Zerbi's potential departure at the end of the season, with Liverpool and United among the top admirers of the Italian style of play. Now, I'm not going to read this full thing out because it's a bit long-winded and Liverpool are hardly mentioned in it, because it's going about how De Zerbi is thought to be admired by the new people that are in charge at United, and Dan Ashworth is expected to take over there, and I think he did work with De Zerbi a little bit at Brighton, so they're making the connection there. And to be fair, guys, when I look at De Zerbi, I don't see a Liverpool manager. I can see him at United, I can see him at Chelsea, but I don't feel Liverpool, and I don't know how more to explain that. You know, if you guys feel something similar, but you know, like when you sometimes look at a player, like for me, for instance, I've always thought this since we signed Szoboszlai, he's got Real Madrid written all over him, you know, if he performs well. But yeah, with De Zerbi, I just can't see him at Liverpool. You watch, I'll be wrong now, and he'll be next manager, but I just don't see it at all, guys. And with the links with Dan Ashworth as well, it makes sense. Would United, I know this is not a Man United thing, but would United really sack him, Ten Hag, after the recent stuff that's been going? Maybe. And then lastly, guys, they've also mentioned here that Hansi Flick is on the list for Barcelona and Bayern, which, you know, kind of contradicts the whole Xabi Alonso thing. I wanted him at Liverpool, but I think he's going to end up at either Barcelona or Bayern if they do get rid of Thomas Tuchel. And that was the last bit I wanted to touch on there, because obviously we started off with Alonso could be going to Bayern with no sort of alternatives there, but it does make sense here that there is an alternative in Hansi Flick, who was very successful during his time at Bayern Munich, and part of the reason why I wanted him at Liverpool, to be fair. But yeah, anyway, guys, I'll bring this video to an end. Let me know what you think down below on everything I've covered, and I'll catch you in the next one.